Imagine this: vibrant colors, fragrant blooms, and a garden that's full of life. This can be your yard next spring. The secret is planting now. Hi, it's Steph. Welcome back to my garden. In the spring, when I do my garden tours, I am often asked where to get spring blooming bulbs. And the truth is, at that time, it is already too late. The key to getting those beautiful spring blooms is to purchase and plant your bulbs now in the fall. So let's go ahead to the store and check out some bulbs. Bulb selection is best in fall when all of your nurseries and garden centers start getting in all of their spring blooming bulbs. I'm going to share with you 5 really easy and beautiful spring blooming bulbs. And the first 2 are pretty common. Tulips. They are a lot of people's favorite, including my own. They come in so many beautiful colors and varieties, as well as different bloom times. They also make great candidates for containers. So if you want to do some beautiful spring pots and arrangements, tulips are a great option. Daffodils, they come in so many beautiful colors and styles. They have the traditional ones with the trumpet, as well as these really gorgeous frilly ones. The great thing about daffodils is that a lot of the varieties will naturalize. And what that means is that you plant the bulb once, and over time they will multiply and you will end up with more. They are also toxic, so animals like deer and rabbit don't touch them. So they are a really great spring blooming bulb. And a couple less common ones that are also great are muscari. So here we have muscari, also known as grape hyacinth, and they have these really beautiful blue and white shades that are great companion plants to daffodils. You can see how beautiful these look together. This is a short stature type spring bulb, so they look really pretty in the front of a border. And alliums. Now, alliums have become more popular in recent years, but they're a really whimsical bloom. They are part of the onion family, which also makes them critter resistant. Rodents don't touch them, deer and rabbit don't touch them. And because some varieties are really tall, they float above your other flowers in the garden and just really make an impact. I have these paired with some bearded iris, and they make beautiful companions. So allium is another great spring blooming bulb. And crocus. This is one of the earliest spring blooming bulbs. Many people will go ahead and plant these in their lawns, and they are one of the first signs of spring. Sometimes they will even start blooming when there's still snow on the ground. And if you have soil that stays pretty moist, which would cause other bulbs to rot, camassia is a great option because this is a spring blooming bulb that can tolerate moist soil. Even though spring blooming bulbs will show up at your garden centers and nurseries in late summer, now in fall is the perfect time to buy them and get them planted. We are now in October, and this is when you can begin planting your bulbs. And if you're not sure how to plant your bulbs, most packages will come with instructions. So you can see here on these tulips that it will tell you to plant 5 tulip bulbs per square foot. So the most important things that you need to pay attention to is how many per square foot for proper spacing, as well as how deep you're going to plant your tulip bulbs. And 3 more tips for some really beautiful spring blooming bulbs. 1, plant your bulbs in clusters or in groups. If you plant them singularly, they don't look as nice. So if you think of it like this, plant them like little bouquets in your landscape or your garden. They will look much prettier. Tip number 2, pick varieties that bloom at different times to extend your bloom show. There are varieties of daffodils and tulips that bloom at different times. For example, here, these daffodils, we have a couple of varieties that bloom. This one here from early spring, and this one here from mid-spring, and the same with tulips. You'll find that they have mid-spring, early, and late spring. So by picking varieties that bloom at different times, you will keep those blooms coming. And tip number 3, when you do plant your bulbs, you want to go ahead and add some fertilizer in the planting hole. Bone meal is a great option. So when you pick up your bulbs, also pick up a bag of bone meal or bulb tone, which is a bulb fertilizer. And what this does is it provides your bulbs with energy to get them growing their roots and to get big, beautiful blooms. And I know we're talking about spring blooming bulbs, but let me show you some other options for spring blooms. These are some shrubs that you can plant now in fall, and the best part, they are 50% off on end of season clearance. Here we have rhododendron, which are a beautiful understory shrub. This likes a part shade location, and in spring, at some point around Memorial Day for me here in my zone 6, you'll get some beautiful blooms. It's actually already budded up. And a lilac, which is the quintessential garden shrub with beautiful and fragrant blooms in the spring. This variety here is the lilac Miss Kim. You can see the beautiful purple blooms, and it gets fall color. It has beautiful red foliage right now. So if you are also looking to add some beautiful spring blooming shrubs to your garden, 50% off clearance, a lilac and a rhododendron is a great choice. The reason that spring blooming bulbs are planted in the fall is because the bulbs need a chilling period or a season of cool in order for them to develop and bloom beautifully. So you plant them in mid to late fall, they will go dormant for the winter, and then they will pop up through the soil, sending up their greens and eventually beautiful blooms for you to enjoy in spring. The fall is the perfect time to plant, whether you're planting perennials, shrubs, trees, or bulbs, because your soil is still warm, which will allow the root development to begin. Another question that often comes up if you live in a warmer region is, what do you do to get your spring blooming bulbs to grow? Because they require a period of chill or cool in order for them to perform best, you would have to mimic that by pre-chilling your bulbs prior to planting them. Now, because I live here in the Northeast, we are a gardening zone 6B, 7A. It does get cold enough in late fall and winter in order for our bulbs to not require any treatment. So I simply plant them out in the fall and they bloom for me in the spring. So we're very lucky in that respect. But if you do want to plant some bulbs and you live in a warmer climate, it is still possible as long as you go through the process of pre-chilling your bulbs. Now, I do have a friend who gardens in Northern California who has done a video on pre-chilling bulbs in warmer regions, and I will link that below in the description as well as in the pinned comment for you to check out. But you can also purchase bulbs online that come pre-chilled. I've seen that as an option. So something else to think about. You might be wondering if the bulbs that you plant this fall will return for you each spring. And the answer to that is it depends. There are some bulbs that are true perennials, like daffodils and grape hyacinth or muscari. And those, once you plant them, they even naturalize, which means they can multiply, and over the years you may even get more. But then there are bulbs like tulips that are not always reliably perennial. You may plant them this fall and they will look beautiful next spring, but then they will not return the following spring, or you might get a few sporadic blooms or just foliage, which can be disappointing. So it is best to treat tulips as annuals, and once they're done blooming, just pull them up and start with a fresh batch each fall, which gives you an opportunity to try different colors and different varieties. Now, there are some tulips that have been known to be more reliably perennial. A couple of examples of that are the ballerina tulips, which are an orange variety, and the Darwin hybrid tulips, which are also known to be more reliably perennial. The interesting thing about the Darwin hybrid tulips is that it's typically the red and yellow varieties that are more likely to return. So tell me, are there tulips that you have had in your garden or bulbs that return year after year that you love? And are there some that you add each year to try? And let me know what you think. Comment below. If you don't have room in the landscape to plant spring blooming bulbs, you can still plant them in containers, and they make a beautiful arrangement that way as well. And they're easier to keep away from rodents and things like deer and rabbits, specifically tulips. I do that down my front steps and I love it. I created this video here that you can check out on planting spring blooming bulbs in containers. And if you want to add some more spring perennials for early season color to your garden, you can check out this video here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will catch you in the next one.